Hello, everyone. Uh, I'm Max, and I will be joined by Luke shortly. I'm an engineer on Stonehearth, and Luke is our lead designer. Today we will be doing some open-ended Q&A, and we will be discussing the Rabbit campaign and seeing what we can come up with. We have a prototype that we've been playing with, and we're thinking of polishing it up and getting it out to you in a month or two. So let me just go through the chat real quick. Hello, Twitch user 6944, Kaiblood, Gister, the Lori, JP Code Dev. Any idea about formation about thrashing stuff on the map? Yeah, I think all the ideas that were mentioned in that thread about don't auto loot or just use the destroy from the from debug tools work, but we don't have anything particularly great at destroying a huge amount of items easily. Oh yeah, Geester suggested put down a big chest, turn off all jobs except haul and sell it. You can take that one step further, where you can just throw stockpiles over these things, assuming you actually own them rather than loot. You'll automatically be able to sell those things just by drawing stockpiles under them. It's a bit of an exploit, kinda, but it could work. What's next? Would it be moddable to remove heartling requirements to actually trash when asked to trash? Yes, that could definitely be modded. Dragging the destroyer is the best option. Yes. And there is Luke. Hello, Luke.
I didn't know we moved to the stream room.
Yeah. Okay. So apparently you don't exist, but here is proof of the
I am
opposite. Hey, Solace, and Lori, Andrilvox, Bruno.
Am I the new Doug?
No, that is not the new Doug. Aaron is the new Doug, which you also won't see a lot, if ever.
Yeah.
But know that he exists because you can hear all the wonderful things that he put into the game.
Yeah, any sound that you hear that wasn't there before is him.
Yep. Maybe it's the old Doug. Did you change your name? Do you have a dark past that we're not aware of? JP Code Dev, thanks for the answer. You're welcome. Someone wrote a mod to move things en masse. Yeah, I think what's his name? The name, I forgot it. It was very never mind. But yes, that same person has a bunch of cool mods for like edge of screen panning, which works like surprisingly well for a mod. It's like if it was in the game originally, and one of those is move things en masse. I've not tried that one, but judging by the quality of the other mod that I tried, it should work well. Bruno, hey Max, have a fun quick bug for you. Watercolor whatever is fully opaque. Yes, I saw your thread. I have not replied because I haven't had time to look into it. I will look into it. Probably we're reading the red channel as alpha somewhere and mixing stuff up, but water rendering is really messed up as it is, so I will look into it and I will get back to you, but not sure when. Luke is the new Tanya. No, Tanya was the engineering lead. I'm the new Tani, I suppose.
Okay.
Luke is the new Richard.
Yes, although we did coexist for some time, but
it takes time for the
to transfer the something time streams.
Yep. Painting sound is awful. Well, we will improve it. I think they already changed some of that because it was too repetitive.
Yeah, I actually don't mind the painting sound, but I'll give it an extra listen because I guess maybe I hadn't paid that much attention to it.
And it's in Chinese. I don't think painting sound has a language.
I assume he's talking about something else. I
know.
Don't know what.
Right. Could it be a renderer where over that threshold it reads a effect?
For the water.
Yeah. We'll look into it.
That would be unusual, yeah.
Richard has been dealt with accordingly. So, back to our main topic.
Let's talk about rabbits instead. Yeah.
Rabbits.
Yeah.
Can you introduce Clan Amberstone to us?
Are they clan? We still haven't figured out what Amberstone exactly is.
Well, it's the rabbit clan that you are gonna interact with in the quest.
Yep. So the rabbits are something that's been teased in like loading screens and stuff for a long time. But like the recent Desktop Tuesday showed that like, hey, they actually exist now. As part of that, we wanted to make some quests so you interact with them, kind of like the goblins have, but maybe take a better approach at having it be more varied and whatnot. So like the rabbits are this ancient race. They've been around longer than humans have. And for kind of unknown reasons in their past, they all live underground, and they've been in hiding for a long time.
They know the reasons.
No, they know the reasons. I'm sure somebody does. And despite having some very high sort of magic technology stuff going on, they're in decline, and they're all hidden away, and they're not on the surface. They're all underground. They're not in the surface world anymore, so you don't normally run into them. And in writing a lot of, so like, hi, I'm Luke. I'm a game designer. That means actually everybody on the Stonehearth team wears a lot of different hats. So one of my hats became narrative writer. Like, I guess little secret, a lot of times when people don't know the full story of the stuff that they're working on in a game, like people assume there's like this like long backstory that we're drawing little bits from, but in part we never had to ask these questions about the rabbits before, like where did they come from, what happened to their civilization, what are they hiding from, like how do they work, what are their real world inspirations. Some of that stuff was known or had been thought about, but some of it kind of hadn't, and we hadn't ever tried to sort of stand it all up together at the same time before. So there was some stuff that we found out in doing that was like, wait a second, why does this if that, and then had to sort it out.
That said, even though there are bits that we didn't know about rabbits, we actually have some old lore that's not really exposed anywhere in the game and just sits in our wiki with like pages and pages that Stephanie wrote like years ago, and we're sort of like picking what makes sense to include in the game.
Yep, that's one of those things where I've had meetings with Stephanie, because Stephanie like has a lot of the world in her head, and I'll ask her about stuff, and she'll be like, oh, well that was da 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 da, and I'm like, we never told the players any of that. So one of the things I've really been trying to do is take ideas that she's had or things that have been written down internally somewhere and get them expressed somewhere in quest text, whether it's in the town progression stuff that's still unstable, or the rabbit stuff, or some of the stuff that we're working on, like trying to get more of that story that even already exists pulled into the game so you can see it somewhere. And actually, if you read like item tooltips and like recipes and stuff really carefully, they hint at these things, but not enough to like build a story out of it.
Yeah, I think Ali writes a lot of those flavor text on the various items, and a lot of them are actually like can be pieced together. Like a lot of them are just feel-good things, like pretty phrases, and I love those. But like some of them are actually referencing real characters or real events, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
Let me catch up on chat.
Yeah.
Blood Rivers for Andrew Vox. Yes, I will look into the watercolor bug and see if I can help you. Cute game, cutthroat programming. I'm not sure what that refers to, either Rivers of Blood or this. Either way, probably not quite as cutthroat as you might think.
Yeah,
Amberstones are Japanese rabbits, Russo-Japanese rabbits. Yep. That's correct. Bruno offers helps as usual, because he's awesome. Trog the rabbits, yes. I mean, actual rabbits live in holes in the earth, so it's not exactly a huge jump.
And
20 go to 10. Yes, this is a weird pseudo language that Luke and I spoke in while we were doing this.
Yeah, because as part of the rabbit campaign was, hey, like we want to do quests that aren't structured as simply thing and then thing and then thing and then thing, like linearly, having more of a like different conditions for different parts to happen, and like building up reputation, even if sort of just behind the scenes, so you actually feel like a little bit more like you're having a unique interaction with a different clan or group or just having a different experience. So some of that required tech work in the behind the scenes, and I don't speak tech enough, or I don't know the engine enough to really know, like, oh yeah, we need this feature. So I had this sort of pseudo language. I could pass it off and be like, hey, here's what I am thinking this logic is, and then Max went and implemented it, and in the way that made the most sense for the engine.
Yeah. So to set the expectation, well, this is not as straightforward as the Ogo and Orc campaigns, and there is some like loops and random quests and whatnot. It's still nowhere near like the level where you would expect like, oh, here are some like random directional things that you could get in like in an MMO or in a like a proper RPG. But this is like a step in that direction.
Yeah, the real, I mean, that's a good point. Like there's still some like kind of fixed points in the story where it kind of comes together, and it's like, okay, we're celebrating this or that, and then like there's more of it. But the idea is that there's at least, instead of having one beginning, one middle, and one end, there's a few things that can happen in the beginning and a few things that can happen in the middle, and you might see repeats, or you'll probably see repeats across multiple games and stuff. But it's not literally the exact same dialogue every single time in the same exact order. Yeah, so we want to do at least try for that.
So user 5754 asks, Stonehearth, now that you're working on rabbits and the like that live underground, are you going to be working on other underground things like preformed caves and the like? Probably not. We do have some thoughts about caves as landmarks. You may have seen something like that in Bruno's archipelago biome, where he has like skull caves. That's roughly the extent where we might go. We do not have like an underground biome or a any sort of like really deep underground exploration planned. It is certainly something that can be done as a mod, and maybe later after release we might look into it, but no plans right now at all.
Yeah, it's something that's really, really hard to do in a 3D game. Not technically, just like how does the camera work? It's a pretty big, I don't know, it's very challenging.
Coasters Paul says, you're supposed to pretend all the lore is completely set in stone and you're purposely revealing small details for us to look through.
Sorry.
Yes, that is true if we weren't developing the game together, but we are developing this game together since we are in early access. Once the game is out, the lore will start to be set in stone.
And to Coasters Paul's point, like the next point, we used to have craziest conversations to have piece things together. There are things that we don't tell the players everything we know. There are things that are meant to be connected, and there are things that we know more about than we say. It's just not every little thing necessarily has that. And sometimes we'll read those discussions and be like, oh, that's a great idea. Like, that's totally canon now. And the great thing about being a game developer is that my headcanon can frequently become the real canon.
Yeah, that power over worlds can get into your head.
It can. It's powerful. I asked Stephanie first, though.
Yeah. I love rabbit folk because they're unique, not elves, not halflings, not gnome. Yeah, we think they're pretty cool.
Plus bunny ears.
Yes, bunny ears are
a lot of animation time was spent getting the bunny ears to be rigged correctly so they could be emotive without clipping like crazy.
Yeah, like the sad bunny with the flattened ears, so cute.
Yeah, that went through surprising amount of iteration for a voxel style bunny with emotive ears.
Bruno, I do plan for long dungeon-like caves as a mod, but I have not started on it yet. I will personally look forward to it, and I think a lot of people will.
The depth of the world.
Gister says, is the depth of the world as necessary with the lack of underground world planned? Well, we're not going to make caves for you, but we want to give you the space to make caves. And honestly, the depth of the world is not like any technical limitation or performance, because it's just sitting there and not doing anything. So it's basically free for us to increase it.
Yeah, and the world should be deep enough such that you probably won't ever actually hit the bottom in normal gameplay. So it's like twice as deep as it needs to be, just so you never like bonk on the bottom of the world or mine through it, as we found yesterday.
Which is no longer the case. To expand on that, we are releasing a new mining tool with today's release, maybe tomorrow, it depends on
the next unstable, which is currently being unstabled.
Yeah. This new mining tool allows you for a bunch of new things that the old mining tool could not do, like resizable cursor and
so much better.
and removing parts of existing mining regions, etc., etc. And one of the things that it accidentally allowed us is to mine through the bottom of the world, but we fixed that.
Yes, it turns out Hearthlings can in fact stand on the bottom of the world.
Huh.
And the other thing that was all what Max did, and then Chris, did we ship the other thing?
Yeah, we are actually shipping it.
Chris added the same time, I think, without talking to you.
Like, it was during the playtest for this new tool. He's like, I wonder if this should do it.
Where when you designate a mining region, it makes that region of stone transparent, so you can see through it, and then keep designating more mining regions. So to the point of, are there caves and stuff planned? I found out by accident that you can actually like carve out a pretty cool cave by just flying your camera into a wall and just like carving as you go, and it reminded me of like the Minecraft sort of meandering caves. So you can at least carve a cave out if you want to.
And now it's easier than before.
Yeah, and so it actually is a lot easier to work underground just because you don't have to like designate region, wait for it to be mined, designate region, wait for it to be mined. You can actually like plan ahead.
Tailskate asks, will other types of farming and or other food source gathering classes be added to the base game? I don't think so. I think the Northern Alliance has a more reliance on hunting, but that's still Trapper, right?
No, I think didn't they make it so that military units could go attack stuff?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I know that Northern Alliance has some different food source mechanics. Oh yeah, I think it was like first you can farm or like trap beetles, and then
that's right.
Like insect meat, and then you get to real animals and whatnot.
Yeah, which was nice. It gives the trapper a little bit of a progression too, where you start trapping like bugs and less tasty things, and you can move up to bigger and bigger animals.
And we might do some changes to farming to support seasons later on, but other than that, I don't think we have any food-related things planned. Yeah. I know there are mods that do that, just like the Archipelago mod adds a fisherman, so that's a new source of food.
Yeah, if we were working on food, I would much rather focus on making the farmer more interesting or making the cook more interesting, like as opposed to adding just more new stuff. But that's also my my tendency.
Bruno says, you could easily have fixed ears. It will look cool enough, but we thank you all for all the extra animations. Yes, that is all Mally. He did all of those.
Yes, but actually, the fixed ears looks like they're just wearing like a hat with ears on it. The moving ears actually does give a lot of life to and a lot of believability to the rabbits being rabbits.
Gisra, I was playing multiplayer the other day and someone expressed surprise even went down 3 levels to Gasp, level 39. Yeah, that's just height from bottom of the world, so like that number doesn't need to mean anything. It's wherever you start. And different biomes will have different depths. Like the biome is what determines how that terrain is shaped.
Mine is still wonky. Yeah.
Well, try it again tomorrow. And
yeah, some actually in doing this mining stuff, some AI changes went in as well in terms of like reserving mining stuff. So it should hopefully feel a little less wonky and be way easier to declare regions and stuff.
Let's see, a river mod on workshop.
Yay.
Still being discussed. If I build underground, will performance be better? Is in the surface world occlusion called when I'm viewing? No, I don't think there will be any significant difference whether you build underground or above ground.
I don't think rendering is the thing that slows the game down for the most part, is it?
It does it in some cases. So there's one case that is terrible. We have the low quality graphics mode and the high quality graphics mode, and sometimes the low quality is much slower than the high quality, because the high quality uses a deferred renderer, which means that the number of lights does not really significantly affect performance, but it uses you need to do like multiple passes. Well, the low quality mode is a forward renderer, which means that for every light, we're going to go through every object that it affects and render it. So, for example, for cities with lots of lights, the low quality graphics will be way slower. Like on my beefy work machine, I cannot run my the evergreen
your awesome
overlock,
desert town.
Because it has too many lights. I have to run it on the high quality. So we're gonna be fixing that someday, but not quite yet. So rendering in general on an average town isn't a bottleneck. It's mostly server, but there are cases that it is.
Okay.
Will there be any magma or water lakes underground? There will not be any magma planned, at least for now. Water lakes, probably not generated by us. However, we will be providing a way for you to get what we call whetstones, which generate water, so you can make your own underground lakes. Void stones eating the underground. Heartlings can like void stones. Yes. I don't think void stones are something we're actually gonna enable or ship. These are the things that remove terrain.
Yeah. We should probably flag the like wet, dry, and void stones to not be likeable, just as that's gonna get
that's
awkward. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's plenty of other stuff to like. So like things that are troublesome are probably easier just to turn it off.
Yeah. Will water have more meaning or purpose in the world? Probably not in the main game, maybe through mods. Does anyone know who to sell the chest of gold coins? The chest of gold coins is your gold, which you buy things with, which Big of Death just said. Yes, okay, so we can actually start to go back on topic. So...
What is haunt level 0?
So this room, like all of our rooms, is haunted. Lights will turn off randomly, and there will be weird noises.
I see.
You need to experience it.
Okay.
So, we talked a little bit about what the rabbits went through, or rather, what we are not willing to say about what they went through. But let's talk more about Clan Amberstone themselves. What sets them apart from the rest of rabbits in general? Are they the only clan? Are they a clan among many?
Did we ever decide that?
I think we discussed it several times with different outcomes.
So to set some context, the rabbit stuff is like we're working on something right now, and then rabbits is sort of the next thing to get back to. So we got the campaign to a point where it's sort of playable in the game, but it's playable but not polished. So I haven't thought about it in a little while.
Yeah, so all the characters are placeholders right now. All the text is just there to get you to understand how the quest works and not really to connect to the lore.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff that we did for the rabbit tech and stuff we did the rabbit quest ended up in the town progression quest. So this was sort of a dry run of like, what does a better campaign system look like, and then, but with some actual legit attempts at story and quest types. But then we haven't actually gone back to put it in the game yet because we decided, you know what, town progression more important, more core to the game. But so yeah, I also have forgotten what things were in my head, what things were where Stephanie and I disagreed and like kind of deferred to what Stephanie had like would have been said before, and then what things actually made it into the game so far. But yeah, the idea behind it is that there's a lot of the rabbits are not as much a singular civilization anymore. They've been sort of scattered into like different warrens, and they kind of keep to themselves. They're connected, but like each of the different warrens are connected via some like hidden underground network, so they can sort of travel around the world, travel around a bit, and have some communication. But the different sort of nodes on that are their own little towns with their own concerns and friendly to each other, but sort of minding their own business and keeping to themselves. I was weirdly inspired by Metro 2031, or the Metro games, or the Metro book in particular, which is super dark and Russian and bad, but it's like...
What?
I know, right? But similar idea there where like bad stuff happened, and then there's all these people living in the Russian
metro
station, the subway, and so they have these long... Like they have stations that are little settlements with long tunnels that are haunted, and all sorts of bad stuff happens between them. So they have some mode of communication and moving stuff around, but generally kind of keep to their own little pockets of civilization until they have to. And they did not have much luck with the orcs. So like the rabbits have been around since before the orcs. And I mean, how much have we talked about the like cycle of regeneration and stuff?
Not sure, really. I do know that we've talked about the Phoenix Empire falling, and I know I've seen in game suggestions about Sid's role in his interaction with the orcs.
But yeah, there's the when you said like how do they like rate the other rabbits? It's like well, there's also the other rabbits that like the trapper catches and you eat, which is a little awkward.
Yeah.
Um, but like the idea is that there's some relationship between the like little bunny rabbits and the underground rebel civilizations, and it's like they kind of trace back to the same
It's kind of the
place.
same as heartlings and apes,
Yeah, but with some more magic.
or monkeys actually.
Yeah, that's true. But with a little more magic thrown in. It's the same thing with like orcs. The orcs are of the snake the same way. But humans, the monkey folks are like in dominance right now, so that's why they're spreading all over the place. And like the Phoenix Empire was such a big deal that you're kind of that was sort of the high point of human civilization, and now you're kind of at a bit of a dip, but working your way back, which is some of what the town progression stuff is sort of expressing of like, you're going back out into the wilderness to like, expand the empire again. So rabbits are in a different phase of their civilization where it's just like they're just kind of holding tight. They know that they're not they can't they can't live on the surface in any huge numbers, and the orcs don't like them, and like they're uncertain about humans.
Well, we're also they believe they can't live on the surface. We don't know quite yet why,
That's true.
or why they believe that, or whether their belief is true.
But at the very least, it's because they like orcs are scary and big and would attack them and stuff. So they're much safer and stable hiding underground, and they're some of the story about it in terms of like different rabbit tribes believing different things is the rabbits that are talking to you think that they should be trying to expand again or trying to make contact again, like not be satisfied with the stable, sort of stagnant, stable life underground, and actually try and like take steps forward again. Whereas a lot of rabbits are like, no, we have food, we have family, we don't need anything else. Like and we talked a little bit about like the Japanese inspirations, and part of writing rabbits is like how much inspiration do you pull, and it's like well, like I think a certain kind of like stoic honor makes some sense there to pull from sort of those roots. So it's like they don't like conflict doesn't necessarily happen a lot between rabbit tribes, but they have this sense of like honor and duty that can oftentimes stop them from making progress. Because I'm not going to fight you because that's not a thing that we should do, but I'm also not going to agree with you. So like we're going to be off in our own little world and not help out with this bigger effort. So part of the story here is sort of building trust with certain rabbits and sort of helping them to erode that, build trust and erode that unwillingness and sense of conservatism, I guess, in the or fear of the unknown in the other rabbits.
So I think a large part of the feel of Stonehearth and sort of the goal that you are working towards at a very, very high level is to sort of bring all the peoples together at the same hearth. And this campaign is kind of the most notable version of that, where these are two different peoples, the Heartlings, whether they're the Ascendancy or as children, and the Rabbits, as represented by Clan Amberstone, coming together and helping each other and building an alliance, which is slightly different from what we had before, which was more combat oriented, and like you sort of make an alliance with the orcs, or at least get them to leave you and respect you.
Mm-hmm.
But there was still that lack of collaboration, which is something that I think the Hearthstone mood and feel embodies.
Yeah, and that's a tricky thing with like trying to write stuff for Hearthstone is it's like it's a happy game, so you don't want to be like, the rabbits were like wiped out down to the last, and it's like you don't want to have like giant crazy bloodshed things, but you still want to try and build tension too. But yeah, like the sort of end result of like basically so the tension being we're not sure if we want to be friends, and then you build it towards yes we want to be friends is sort of a Stonehearthy way to do things. I keep it. Listen, I did not say Hearthstone. No way. 0% chance.
Maybe it was me, but I certainly didn't
I
notice.
think you did actually, but no.
You know what I mean. So, catching
I
up
think you
on
made me say it.
uh,
I blame Doug.
catching up on chat. Found a funny bug in multiplayer where the other players' villagers were just randomly starting taking items from crates. We continue to fix these things.
Is that the check-in that I saw today where they
There was-
tag a storage thing?
There was one fix specifically for input bins where everyone would stock one player's input bins, or just refuse to stock their own or do weird things. So we're fixing a bunch of issues surrounding that. Max is Russian, right? Yes, half Russian. The Bun Raid. I'm not sure what that...
Is that a Russian thing?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
To be clear, the rabbits don't live. Sorry, I'm looking at Geister's things like Minecart's thing. The rabbits don't live in like some kind of subway underground transport system. That was the book I was talking about.
It's just an inspiration of nodes within an underground system that are sort of separated and have kind of separate culture, or at least are not just one big blob, like you typically imagine dwarves. Bruno Supremo. So this underground is deep. At first I thought it was more just hobbit houses. I think it was more of a deep underground.
Yeah, I think perhaps back when the rabbits' civilization was at its peak, they might have just sort of lived in like hobbit houses kind of things. But at some point when things get bad, you get driven farther and farther underground, and they can survive undergrounds, and so that's an okay, like, that is a livable place for them, even though they'd probably rather be out in the sunlight. Ignore them.
Forgive me if you've covered this. Has the team already considered separate instances of dungeons where the entrance might pop up randomly in the overworld and disappear after a certain point? We've considered that a while ago, and it was too much, like, it was a different game basically. It was not the vision of Stonehearth as we saw it, where your focus is always on the town, and we did some exploration that we posted a DT about. It wasn't so much dungeons, but still like giving you more land that your focus was on exploring it. We decided that's not a direction we want to go to, because it's a completely different game, and it might be an amazing game, but it is not the Stonehearth that we're building. That said, mods could do it. Definitely the stuff, the exploration we did with the extra terrain chunks, it can work as a mod. But overall, even like spawning dungeon entrances is a thing that could be modded. Everyone joins to fight a bigger evil. Yes. In fact, that might just happen. K-Blood. Everyone wants to rule the war. It's not so much... What does it mean to rule the war?
I think you meant world? I don't know.
Possible.
Speech to text.
Is it rabbits or bunnies? Everyone calls them differently on our team. Like Stephanie will always call them buns. I don't know why.
Buns. I think if you were to ask them, that they would say that they are rabbits and that bunnies is like derogatory. And there's actually some funny stuff about like how much is it like, hi, give us 10 carrots, and how much are they like offended when you offer them a carrot, because it's like our culture is so much more than just eating carrots, like how dare you. So there's some funny stuff to play with there.
It was an awful attempt at sounding like Da Comrade, but with bunnies. Well, now we know.
Yeah, I see it now.
Are you able to talk about the performance issues with AI and their decision making, like why the game destabilizes beyond 20 settlers? Is it Lua and no multicore support? Yes, I'm working on performance right now. Lua is a problem because we are locked in a single world with Lua, which is not very threading friendly, unless we had built our own threading infrastructures, which we did not. And now it's way too late to rebuild the whole game to support that. Part of it is just random gameplay logic that wasn't optimized because it wasn't... If we had optimized everything as we were writing it, we would not have the features that we have right now. So now we are in an optimization phase where we go back and look at things and optimize them. At this point, we've optimized a bunch of things. The top culprit right now is restocking, so um, I'm looking at that right now, and Chris is looking at that right now, and we're considering how we can make that faster. So performance is definitely our focus right now. You might not see the results quite yet, but even in the release that's going out today or tomorrow, there are some more performance optimizations.
And like restocking is it's a really hard problem programmatically. It's like take
Yeah.
all the possible things you could possibly want to like interact with and find all the possible places you could put them and pick the best one. I know we don't do that
Yeah, we don't do-
necessarily, but
we
that
don't
is,
do
that is the
ideal,
naive
but-
problem. It's just
Oh.
like for
Yeah.
everything in the world, find every place you could put it and then pick one, and that's a big like computers are not good at that.
I mean,
kind of.
yeah, and also because we keep all of the gameplay logic and all the data in the Lua level, so it's all moddable and all accessible. It means it limits the amount of optimization we can do. Like in some of the systems that we changed, like for example, one of the changes that's going in the next release is the event system was moved from Lua to C++, and that is a thing that no one will probably want to mod because it's just a system where you register an event and you react to an
Yeah,
event.
you can still add whatever events you want.
The
and
API
trigger
is
them.
exactly the same.
It's just you can't mod
but
the
it's-
system that handles the events, which you would never want to do.
And it is at the very low level of the game, so it doesn't rely on any gameplay logic. This is what everything uses, but it doesn't use anything, which allowed us to just move it down and get a big performance boost, relatively speaking, for that specific system. Which is not something we could do for restocking, because restocking says, oh, is this loot? And the engine cannot know what loot is unless we move half the game into C++. Things like, oh, is this an iconic entity or not? Things like, oh, was player ownership, it does exist at the engine level, but lots of things like, oh, what is the filter that is set on this storage component? The storage component idea is not on the C level. The filtering idea is not on the C level. So all of those things make it hard to just go and optimize things by rewriting them in a lower level.
Too entangled.
So that was a kind of long aside. It involves mushrooms too.
The carrots. I think.
Yes.
Carrots. Which actually that makes you think the Hush mod that got made during Thunderdome.
Oh, yeah?
We should steal the glowing mushrooms
Oh,
and
yeah.
put them as a rabbit thing.
Reuse and recycle.
Because they're not in the game. They're in a mod technically, but we can just like.
Yep. We need to Paul
ball.
to say if they are rabbits or bunnies, and that everyone can agree to
Why
it.
not both?
Well, also, just let the rabbits or bunnies decide for themselves.
That's true.
It's not like we are in any position to choose their name.
They're Clan Amberstone.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Notice both current cultures have carrots in common. Rabbins.
Actually, there's even a thing with the rabbits and bunnies. It's like, are they humans or hearthlings? Because like, I'm not even quite sure.
Yeah.
We call them like orcs call them humans.
I just
and
use
then
the word citizens for everything,
Yes.
which is kind of dystopian.
Yes,
but-
exactly. So, hi Mally.
Hello, Mally. Ears are adorable. Yes. There is much appreciation for ears. Quick question. My wife is stuck on the campaign at the food donation step, not tier quest. Is there a way to trigger the next step in the campaign? The campaign browser from the debug tools should allow you to trigger the next bit. This seems like a bug that we need to fix.
Yeah, whenever I've seen that happen, it's because there was still a notification in the like events thing for the bird being like, "Here's food." There's food on his back. Which one, maybe that's busted, and two, probably not halt the quest until you do it. But I didn't think it did. Anyway, the instructions there. Yeah, click on the book in the dev tools, and then it'll like tree out, and then you click on the word underneath the food donation, or poke around in there, and there should be a like trigger next somewhere.
GPCode dev probably click. That's actually something that I fixed, I believe.
Okay.
Previously, you could double click on dialogues, and if your server was lagging, it would send the event twice, and it would break the campaign. That should be fixed.
Okay.
Maybe there is something else. If you guys find a clear way to reproduce this problem, please post it on the forum. It will be very helpful for us.
Yeah.
When I play mine are called boxlings. Yeah, and Unreal Vox has a really weird mod with all kinds of things in it. It's very interesting. Uh, Check it out on the Steam Workshop, I think. I'm pretty sure it's on Steam Workshop, although it might have been split into a bunch of different mods. Anyway, cool stuff. I always miss the trader returns. I try and then poof. Yeah. I think they don't. If you don't have the things that they asked for, they will the notification will disappear quicker or something like that. Um,
Yeah, because there's two different. There's like a flag on notifications about whether it like will sit in the dialogue in the little tray or not if you dismiss it. Um, yeah, maybe that's bugged or something. I wonder if there's like some close event that's not getting hooked up until it's finished, like opening or something.
Maybe. So now that we've discussed a little bit about Clan Amberstone, can you give us an outline of what the campaign looks like, or at least our first stab at it?
Do I remember what the campaign looks like? I mean,
I remember bits. If you want me to,
I mean, I guess broadly, there's some amount of sort of hinting. Like, there's I saw ears poking up somewhere, or like, because at this point in sort of history, the rabbits have been in hiding so long that they're kind of just myths, right? Like the rabbit statues are around, but no one really knows what happened to them. And as is sort of a challenge with a game where you want to tell a story like this, presumably each little town that, like, only the towns that are on like the fringes of people settling, which is where all of the Stonehearth towns are taking place, have like started to bump into these rabbits. So like the folks back at the capital or whatever aren't aware of it yet. But so you start to see like little hints, and then in the current draft, a hooded figure shows up and starts asking for some help. That was before we had models, and the rabbits were like this tall. So like, well, they're not this tall, but like they're not human sized anymore. So like, I don't really need to figure out something, or just have it be like,
I mean,
a curiously short person in a robe shows up.
So I mean, we already have the character Sasha, who is the rabbit ambassador kind of thing, who is of an unclear gender right now.
Yeah.
She has a model and a portrait and whatnot, but I guess she hides her rabbitness when she first approaches you to see if you are worth approaching, like as an ambassador.
Yeah.
So
I just really like I really love the image of like it being like a hooded figure and you see it's a person, and then like take the hood off and the ears like blop.
Yep.
But anyway, Bruno says my quest tree is just a straight line. Yeah, like making a non-linear quest was actually something that required a bunch of new work. Like, aren't the generator blocks a new concept?
Well, no, generator blocks were there, but we have counter blocks where you can set like keep track of just a random counter for, like, we use it for like the rabbit reputation, how much the rabbits like you, and based on that we select different quests that are available to you at different times. This also was the source of delivery quests, which we use for the town progression campaign. I think only that right now.
Yep.
And the dispatch quests, which are not yet used in the game, but they're in the code base, where we you select a person to send out of your town to do a quest, and they return back, and you get a reward.
Yep. Yeah, because part of this rabbit campaign stuff, part of it was like, what's the story of the rabbits and how they interact with the town? How can that like improve the world of the game and like world building, cool world building stuff. But part of it was like, okay, right now we have quests that are, we spawn monsters on your face and you either kill them or they kill you, and it kind of sucks. Or, hi, I'm a goblin, 10 doors please, I'll come back in a day. If you don't have 10 doors in a day, you're dead. So we wanted to expand that out to like, we had did a lot of brainstorming about like what kinds of quests make sense for a game like Stonehearth. So like the delivery quests are, well, if I need to, if I want to ask for 10 Poyo Pot pies, you may not have the materials on hand in the next day to make 10 Poyo Pot pies, like, because Poyos take time to spawn. So like, let's give a way for the player to decide. So be like, yes, I will make these. Like, every other MMO quest where you get a quest and like 3 days later you're like, okay, here's the 20 wolf butts that you wanted. And MMO quests have a decline, have an abandoned button where it's like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. Give me a different quest. So
to expand on that a little bit, so we call them delivery quests because that's what they started off as. But right now they actually allow for a bunch of different requirements. So
I forgot about that checkdown quest.
is that the one where they're like goblins?
The rabbit approaches you and it's like, so we ran into some goblins and they demand that we make them like 10 doors for some reason. Can you give us some doors?
So to get back on that, so here, like, you can ask for item materials for specific things. You can ask for people of a given to have a given level of a job.
Yeah, if you have a master carpenter, then let me know and I'll give you a recipe.
You can check for net worth, for placed items.
Yes, which is like how we do if you place a fountain or a shrine and like get tier 3 in your town.
And these are all reusable and documented and should be easy to use for modders.
Yep. And they also display. They have a nice display in the quest thing, so you can actually keep track of things.
And they live update, so like even if you have the notification open, they will show you the progress of these things. And it's probably not hard to add new types of requirements, though. Probably not through different mods.
I didn't say wolf bots. I said wolf butts.
Wolf butts confirmed for engineer.
Nope.
Well, reskin of a wolf.
You know, that's actually a
We're
really
just
cool.
talking about.
It's actually a really cool idea. I'm just sorry. I'm imagining you have like a dog on a chain. It runs and the chain runs out. It's like it's a wolf, but it has a plug, and if it runs too far, it unplugs itself and just like falls flat. You have to drag it back over. I don't think we'd ever add that. It's awesome. I love that.
Please, someone mod that in.
I've seen a work of like kinetic art that was just a robot that just unplugged itself, and that was all it did. Anyway.
So, Ryan Rue, if you'll excuse my lack of information, when you are finished about your current explanation, what is the state of the Titans? What I found out about those, I was pretty stoked. Again, I'm quite uninformed.
What have we said / want to say about Titans? We are working on a Titan encounter.
Yes.
So that's a thing.
There is a Titan encounter. It involves tentacles. I've said that before.
Yes. It is not as I've been calling him, a giant meat man showing up and walking into your town and you just send 10 knights to like wail on its legs. We thought a lot about that, and it's sort of what's in like the Kickstarter video, but like it just sucks for a bunch of reasons.
I mean, it's basically that way. It would be just a reskinned ogre that's bigger. We tried it. It's kind of meh. It works, but it's unsatisfying. So this is a little bit more than a combat encounter.
Yeah.
We're not yet ready to reveal it. It will not be part of the Alpha 24-25, but it will be something that we work on, or we're already working on it.
Yeah,
but
it's something thing. We're trying to finish that next. Yeah. Actually, you'll see. You should hopefully see a Titan in the game before you see rabbits in the game.
Yes,
because rabbits is next to finish that.
We don't want to spoil it as much because while Rabbids is sort of a long-term campaign that has a bunch of different lore and a bunch of different paths and whatnot, the Titan encounter is sort of an experience that you have to go through, and if we spoil exactly what's going to happen, it's not nearly as fun.
Yeah. If I had my way, I would actually just leave it up to like YouTubers or whatever to like see what's there. It'll probably end up on a Desktop Tuesday, but I'd at least rather that be the final version or close to final, as opposed to the about half final and about half like companion cube default objects. Or those not legally distinct from companion heart box default objects.
Okay. I realize they will be quite late in game, but the idea is really cool.
For Titans.
Yeah. For the door thing, you can choose to send an army to defend rabbins, if you don't have enough wood. I believe that's actually an option in the quest.
I think so. I think there are two options.
Yeah,
of like, hey, can you do this or that? Oh yeah. In this case, it's make potions. So like, hey, either give us some door. Like, we don't have any wood. We're underground or whatever. Whatever the justification was. Either make us some doors, or you have doors, or give us some health potions and we'll fight them off ourselves.
That said, there are other quests here about give us like a carpenter to help us build this thing.
Yeah.
So it could definitely be give us a knight to defend us from goblins.
Yeah, like the two
Yeah.
options there is arbitrary. We can do that.
Yeah.
And I think when I wrote that, we didn't have the tech to send somebody off, and I was actually a little bit iffy about like whether you'd want to send off your military guy. But anyway,
Yeah.
yes, we can do that.
We're gonna need more turnips. No, turnips are not allowed. Only radishes. Glory to the radish.
I need a bigger boat.
Our boats can't float. Well, they can exist on top of water. I believe that's called floating.
I guess so.
Is the Titan using the classic model from the trailer? No.
Not the model, but you'll see.
Yeah. It is not the Titan that you've seen.
We drew inspiration from the trailer Titan was a starting point.
Yeah. Bruno will save us. He has done so in the past, yes.
Somebody like dredged up that model from somewhere, didn't they? Like that model exists in the world because I think we had misplaced it or lost it or whatever. But like,
yeah, I'm not sure.
Someone like sent it to us. We're like, what? More relevant.
Current info, some of the pictures of the art shown in the most recent Desktop Tuesday by your artist looked really amazing. Is any of it working its way into loading screens and the like? The game's artwork is my favorite of any game I've seen.
I love Ali's work so
yes,
much. Everything she
Ali is amazing. And yes, that's actually a really good idea. We should get the rabbit concept art into loading screens. Thanks for reminding us.
Yeah, and some of it already is, right? That's where like some of the rabbit stuff came from. Like it's changed a fair bit. Like we don't have the big old bruiser rabbit anymore, but
yeah. Well, that was the rabbits before they descended underground.
Oh, I see. Yes, that was when they were at their prime. Now they got shorter through evolution. That's how that works, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you adapt to your low ceilings. That's how.
Exactly. You evolve to be shorter. Easy.
You can rescale the model, and you become a bruiser rabbit.
I think, yeah.
So we have 7 minutes remaining. We've talked a bit about the background of rabbits and Clan Amberstone in particular. We've shown a very basic outline of the campaign as it exists now.
Well, a very overcomplicated outline of the campaign, but yes.
Well, if anyone cares, they can look through this and figure it out.
Like freeze frame all the things and look and hope the names are reasonable, and I don't think I use any swear words anywhere.
But yeah, this was the first implementation that we did like months ago, just to get the tech, like to verify that we have the tech to do what we wanted.
Yeah, and Max implemented almost all this stuff, so thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
That would have taken me forever.
And
we're just basic.
We're gonna implement this for real once we work out all of the details in terms of lore and story and how it's connected to the rest of Stonehearth. Once we are done with the Titan.
Yep. And one reason we say this is basic is that pretty much all these branches in here are like a different type of quest, and then so we kind of have like one of each thing. So it would be nice if we had multiple of each thing where, like we express different ideas or different requests or different ways of helping through different kinds of quests and sort of add to the variety, because at this point it's relatively easy. Like one of the ideas behind the thing is that the rabbit campaign is structured in a way that is sort of any sized, where you can put in, if modders want to add in can modders add stuff to the quest? Yeah. So like if modders wanted to add 30 quests to the rabbit campaign, they actually could do it and it wouldn't break the structure. So
Ryan Rue says, what people thought were dwarves are just your rabbits. Dwarves are rabbit like in the real life, not humanoid. I mean, when you see those short rabbits...
Dwarves are rabbit like in real life?
I don't know about that.
They have cute little puffy tails. Didn't you know?
But the point is, if you see a short humanoid creature in a hood with no ears showing, they may be mistaken for dwarves.
They might have big long ears under there. Yep.
Yeah, so maybe that's where the legend of the dwarves came from, and there aren't actually any dwarves in Stonehearth.
That's actually really cool. That's canon now, because I like that, and I could probably get Stephanie to like it.
Thanks for the dev stream. It's our pleasure. Cottontail's beard, same thing. think they're going
Yeah, I
on
don't-
different parts of.
that leads down. I don't want to think down that path too far.
Don't lose my dwarves. Your dwarves? I mean, if you make them, they will be your dwarves and they will not be lost. So, go ahead and do that. Now you just need a model of a dwarf sized out with a gnarly beard. We do have dwarf-sized rabbits because that's their rabbit size.
Okay.
But beards, I don't.
So
Technically,
So what if
the magnificent beard trait could probably go on a rabbit.
So what if the dwarves are just like a break off of the rabbits that have really long ears and they just tie them down to here, but they're like shaggy brown ears instead of this sort of like and
I kind of feel that Ali would not be on board with this.
I'm more upset because it's like their ears wouldn't work correctly anymore, but you know.
Yeah, well,
They have very, very good hearing. It's too good for the and then because they did so much smithing, they had to tie their ears down. Otherwise, it was too loud with all the
Exactly.
hammering and stuff. See, yeah, this is world building 101 here, guys.
a lion dwarf rabbit. Yeah, it does look like a mane, right?
Yes.
Um, engineer art concepts. You do not want to see engineer art. Engineer art is not a good thing, unless you mean the engineer profession, which is what you probably mean. But we have. Do we have any? Not sure.
I don't know. I'm
Thing
not
is-
sure. I think the ones that existed got put into the game, didn't they? Like the trap and like the turnip shooters.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen any turnip shooter concept art. I know that there's the trap one.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
need to get all the
It's-
concept art we can.
It's
put it out
like
there.
a.
It's so good.
It takes effort to get Ali to surrender her art because she's
That's
always like,
true.
this can be better. This is not good enough.
Yeah.
Even though it's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's always amazing. But
Yeah.
it's I mean, that's just how like
Yeah.
a lot of artists are, where it's like, no, it's not how I can see it yet. And that's why they're so amazing such amazing artists, is they can see these things that
Oh,
us mortal engineers cannot.
Geester says the
The
rabbit's
rabbit
ear
ear is definitely an engineer art concept.
Well,
I need to talk to Ali about this. I haven't seen this.
right. So I think we are closing in on our deadline, which is 2 minutes. Anyone, if you have any burning questions, please type them out, and we will answer them before we leave.
And there's like a 30-second delay on Twitch, so you have like a minute and a half when you hear this.
Yeah. In the meantime,
Mm.
let's see. Thanks for the stream. You're welcome.
And thank you.
Quest generator, reminder generator, crystal beats, residence.
Crystal Beats.
So
yeah, that was. No.
yeah, the residence stuff is pretty cool, where you can get a rabbit
Oh yeah.
to immigrate to your town with enough convincing.
Yeah, we did the work to make rabbits a citizen class. They can't do everything, but they can be in your town, and you give them a house, and it's great.
Yep. And I had a screenshot that I showed off to the team like a long time ago with like different rice children and ascendancy and rabbits and orcs sitting at the same table and
Yeah.
eating. That was pretty fun.
Yep. Again, like back full circle. Like Stonehearth's about getting everyone together
Yep.
on the same hearth. So like that's something we're excited about.
Entertaining and informative stream. That's what we tried to do. I'm glad we succeeded this time.
Hooray!
The burning question that is too
Yeah.
hot. We here appreciate puns.
Oh yes,
So-
I especially do.
Party Goblin needs to happen. You know, Party Goblin does happen.
Yeah.
If you get your town to tier 3, Party Goblin shows up for your celebration, if you hadn't noticed. His name is Unz Unz.
Uns. Yep. We were like, who should show up to this party? And it's like, well, blah blah blah. NPCs, like trade delegate, blah blah blah. What about Party Goblin? Party Goblin. Yeah, he. I don't think anyone ever references him, which I kind of like. Like
Yeah,
he wasn't invited to the party. He's just showed up, and everyone partied with him. And then I think the first time I ever saw him spawn in game, he was like standing in a fountain, and I was so happy.
That's where Party Goblin belongs.
Yeah, no, Party Goblin is legit in the game.
Now you mentioned that, I'm thinking of we should like recreate the Friends intro sequence and stuff.
We need clapping sound effects.
And Geester for reals, yes. And now we are at 7 p.m.
All right.
Thanks for sticking with us.
All the good stuff's at the end.
Yep. I hope you enjoyed it. We certainly did.
Yeah.
So see you next time.
Bye. And then we awkward.